Hi guys, this is week 23 and our sort this week is with some long U sounds. Now this sort is not very tricky, so I'm going to take the opportunity to tell you about some of the things about the words. So we have long U spelled U consonant E. Oh, I just realized I've got a stamp which I'm using with my kid today. I've got OO also making the OO sound, and then I've got my oddball, which is not really oddball, but just any other long U spelling. So let's take a look first at all the ones that have a U consonant E. So I have perfume, which is like what we spray to make ourselves smell nice. I have useful, which means that something is able to be used, it has a purpose. I have excuse, and I have reduce. All right, the first thing I wanted to tell you about these is I wanted to point out on excuse and reduce. Did you ever notice that when you have a U consonant E, or really any word consonant E, and it has an SE, then it makes the Z sound. So in the word excuse, which uses an S-E, so it's a vowel S with a magic E, that's going to make the Z sound. And that is very true for any word that has this pattern. So in words like rose, the S stands for the Z sound, and in wise, the S stands for the Z sound. So because of this pattern, when we need the S sound, like in reduce, you're going to use a CE in order to make the S sound when it is spelled with a vowel consonant E. So that is just something to be aware of as you are looking at things, is that is a pattern that we have. All right, the next thing that I was going to tell you is we have a couple of suffixes. All right, let's go through the next ones and then I'll go through my suffixes. All right, so on our OOs, we've got balloon, you know what that is, noodle, like you eat, raccoon, like the animal, rooster, also like the animal, and then the compound word toothache. It's a compound word because it's made up of two base words, two words that can be on their own. It can be tooth, and then it can be ache. Both of them, my cat is desperate for attention, I'm sorry. Toothache, so it's a compound word with two base words that can be alone put together. All right, and then our oddball words are Tuesday, beauty, and cougar. Okay, so those are the oddball words. So let's take a look at some of the things I wanted to point out here. So the first thing is that we've got a couple of suffixes. So in the word useful, we have the suffix full, right? Which means full of. Notice there's only one L because it's in a word with more than one syllable. Okay, we have that rule about doubling the L at the end of a one-syllable word. So when we write the word full, I'm not sure you can see that. When we write the word full, it's only one syllable. And it's a short vowel, and it ends with an L, so we have to have two L's. But in the suffix full, we don't need two L's because it has more than two syllables, so it doesn't follow that rule. Okay, so useful literally means full of use. So that is a suffix that's a meaningful part of that word. All right, we also have a couple other suffixes that I'm going to skip over because they're a little bit more complicated. But the other one I wanted to point out was excuse. The X in excuse is a prefix. Okay, so the X in excuse means out or away, right? And then this cues comes from a root word. Okay, so a root word is like a meaningful part, and it's often from a different language, and it can't stand by itself. And so the root here is causa, well, I might be saying that wrong, which is from Latin, and that means cause or reason. All right, so literally excuse means to reason away or reason out of a punishment. So isn't that neat? Like how you can see the word parts that make sense like that. So X would be our prefix there. If you had a question like on the SOLs or something about what the prefix was, it would be X. All right, so a few more things and then we'll go. Tuesday, I wanted to talk about really quickly, just because if you have learned nothing else from me, I hope you know that English does make sense. For all of our English words, there's always a reason why they're spelled the way they are. Our days of the week in English come from Germanic gods. Okay, so a long time ago, These tribes, they came from Germany, they invaded England, and they brought their language with them, and they brought their gods with them. And each day of the week is named for one of those gods. And so Tuesday was named for a god called, I might be saying that wrong, Tiwas. And so the original word was Tiwas Day. And eventually that got changed into Tuesday. And so that is why we have some weird spellings in our months and also in our days of the week. All right. Last thing is I wanted to take a look at your 2 high frequency words for this week. All right. So our high frequency words are excellent. Excellent. All right. So excellent is related to the word excel, right? So excel means to go like above and beyond. And so when you're writing excellent, that should help you remember that that's gonna be related to the word excel. Okay, we have 2 L's here because otherwise our E would be open and it would have a long E sound. So in order to keep that as a closed syllable, so if we were going to split this into syllables, excellent, we would need that L to keep that as a closed syllable. Okay, so to excel means that you're doing a really good job, and if you are excellent, that is the noun form of that. The last thing I wanted to point out is this world. World is a weird word because W-O-R kind of makes the sound, and that's not what you expect with O-R, right? But when there's a W in front, this is a stable pattern that we see. We see it in words like worm. We see it in words like worth. So if you have a word that starts with a W and then you hear you know it's probably going to be spelled O-R. Okay, world, that's our word. All right, so that's our words for this week. Let me go back to the sort real quick and review. So basically when we're sorting them, if they have a vowel, consonant, E, you're putting them in one column. If they're spelled with an O-O, it's in the next column. And then any other long U spelling is going to be in our oddball.